Hey everyone, so I was about to go clean my brushes, and I was looking at them, and I was like, have I done a brush overview video? And I don't think I have, except I think I might have, and it might have been like one of the first videos I ever did when I had like 2 brushes. So yeah, I thought it'd be kind of a good idea to show you how I store my brushes. It's kind of how everyone stores their brushes, but kind of talk about some of my favorite ones and how I use them, and kind of tell you what kind of brushes I think are definitely worth investing in, and which ones that I think that you can definitely go cheaper on. So yeah, let's start with face brushes, and I keep all my big brushes in just like a little cup like this. Very easy. These are all like my foundation, blush, bronzer, like big fluffy brushes, and I pretty much have the majority of them are all Bare Essential brushes, which are short handled, so that's why they're all like short and small and in here. The first one I'll talk about is my foundation brush. I use a mineral foundation right now, so I use this Handy Buki by Bare Essentials, and it's essentially just a small kabuki brush with a handle instead of like a short little buffer brush, and I really like this. If you have mineral foundation or you use a kabuki brush in any way, I definitely prefer the one with the longer handle. I feel like it's just a lot easier to control, and I feel like you don't press as hard. I felt like when I used a handled kabuki brush, I pressed really hard on my skin, probably irritated it. So yeah, I like this one a lot. This one's really good. For concealer, I talked about this in my favorites video. I use the Seamless Blending Brush by Bare Essentials, and it's basically a double-handled brush, double-sided, and I use this side to apply the concealer in just small strokes wherever I need to conceal. And then I use this side to set the concealer with a powder, or if I need it to like blend a little more, I'll actually use this side to blend out the concealer, because sometimes this can leave brush strokes or streaks. I mean, not always, but sometimes. So it's good. I like having both sides. I tend to use both sides. For blush, I pretty much use 2 main brushes. For powder blush, I use this. It's the Bare Essentials blush brush. Just small, your standard dome top, whatever. And then for cream blushes, I use my MAC 168 Special Edition. And this one's really good for the cream blushes. I feel like with cream blushes, I tend to be a little heavier handed with them, I guess. And I get a little more paranoid about the precision, so or the application, so I really want to make sure that it's going exactly where I want it to go. So I absolutely love this brush for it. For bronzer, I've been using my 187 Special Edition, which is the dual fiber brush. I'll press a little bit harder to apply the bronzer, so I'm getting like the more dense black fibers and trying to apply it more with that. And then with the lighter white fibers, I'll just swirl it so it blends better. So this is kind of like almost 2 brushes in one, which I really enjoy. And I think this brush is a lot easier to be light-handed with, so especially for bronzer, you don't want to go overboard. That's really bad. And then after that, in general, I've got basically a bunch of like big fluffy brushes that I can use for an overall face powder, bronzer, or if one of my blush brushes is dirty, then I can use one of those. So those are my main face brushes. That's what I typically use them for. And I would say you definitely want to invest in a good foundation brush, especially if you wear like a liquid or something that needs a little bit more precise application. You don't want to buy a cheapo brush, especially for something that you're putting all over your face. You want your brushes to be soft and good quality so they don't irritate your skin. So I would definitely say don't skimp on a face brush, especially a foundation brush or a powder brush, something that you're applying all over your face. Next are my eye brushes. Eye brushes, I keep them in a big thing like this, and I know a lot of people, use this kind of system with the beads, which I really like. This is just a big glass container I got at Michael's, and then I got like the floral beads from Michael's too. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows about this by now. But it's nice because it keeps all your brushes upright, and they stay where you want them, so they kind of keep them spread out so you can see where all your brushes are, so you're not constantly hunting, because that's really annoying when you have a lot. I'm probably not going to go over all of my brushes just because there's just a bunch of random ones in here that can be used for a bunch of different things. But as for like flat shader brushes, I have a couple different ones that I use most often, and that would be my 242 by MAC. I'll also use the 239 MAC dupe, the 3/8 of an inch low Cornell makinascene mop brush. And this is an artist brush that you can get at like craft stores. And this is actually, I've heard that this is exactly like the 239. If you're kind of strapped for cash, going to a craft store and getting artist brushes, wow, ooh. Go for artist brushes because they're going to be good quality. And you can see this is all dirty. By the way, all of my brushes are dirty. I'm sorry, I was going to clean them right before I decided to make this video. So don't judge me. I don't keep them dirty this much. Ugh. And then I have my Eco Tools flat shader brushes, but I use this for a lot of like cream base work because they're synthetic bristles. So with like the cream products, it's not going to ruin my brushes. But these are actually really nice. They're very soft, and they work really well for packing on color. So I reach for these almost every day. It's not completely necessary to go and buy MAC brushes for flat shader brush. I mean, the application doesn't have to be perfect. You're just packing on color, probably on the lid. So going for a cheap brush like at the craft store like this, or a drugstore brand, is definitely fine. Second kind of brushes I have are lots of crease brushes, and I have a couple different kinds. So these are basically all my crease brushes, and they all kind of have their own purpose. Now for everyday, just like standard crease, application, I'll use my MAC 217, which is basically, if you know anything about MAC makeup, this is like the holy grail of MAC brushes. This brush is so versatile and it works so well. It's dense enough that it's going to give you a good application, but it's also, I guess, like loose enough where it'll blend really nicely. If you're going to skimp on all of your other brushes, splurge on this one because you won't regret it. And then also I have my Sephora just regular blending brush. It's not dense at all, so it really blends just kind of messily. So if you want to be accurate with your blending, this is probably not a good choice. I think it's similar to the 224 by MAC, but it's so wide that it's not going to be very precise, but it's going to blend out everything really well. So this is good and bad. It just depends on what you want to use it for. And then finally, my last crease brush, and one of my favorites, absolutely favorites, is my MAC 226. It was special release with the Blonde Brunette Redhead collection, and then also in another collection over the summer that I can't remember. But you can see it's just very, very tapered, and it's very, very, very dense. So this is the kind of brush that I use for the outer V. If I'm going to put like black in the outer V, I'll just like put it right down and do small circles just right in the outer V, and it darkens it up. Next we can talk about eyeliner brushes, and I have a bunch, and the one that I use every day is my Sephora angled eyeliner brush. And this brush is just so thin, and I like the angle on it. Some people prefer brushes more like this, where it's just very small point. But I find that I actually have more control with the angled brush. So that's definitely my favorite. But I also have this like flat eyeliner brush, which I don't like to use for my upper lid because it's so curved, and especially if I'm going to wing it out, it's hard to do with this. But it's really, really good for the lower lash line if you just want to be really precise and get really, really close to your bottom lashes, because I don't like a lot of color trailing down my face. This is really good for that. So, I guess for eyeliner brushes, it's up to you. The Sephora brush is kind of expensive. I don't remember how much it was exactly, but I think it was probably close to $20, which is pretty annoying, especially for such a little brush, and it so easily gets lost. But I definitely think it's worth it to me because it's the only thing that I really like to use. So that's going to be kind of a your call thing. And finally, I'll talk about some miscellaneous eye brushes that I really like to use all the time. This is my highlighter brush. I use this for brow highlight all the time, and I don't know why I do. I think it's because it's like so big that it covers that area really well. But this is a Coastal Scents brush. It's super, super dense, really, really short and stubby. But I just think it works well, and it just picks up a lot of color too. So I really like this one for brow highlight. I don't really know why. I mean, you can use anything for brow highlight. But that's my highlight brush. I don't know. I also really like this one. This is the MAC 219 Special Edition. It's just very like a pointed pencil brush, and it's really good for smoking out eyeliner, things like that. One of these eyebrow eyelash combs are really good, especially if you pencil in your eyebrows, or, you know, put eyeshadow in them or whatever, because this side, you can just swipe it over and it'll kind of like fade out the color a little bit better, make it look more natural. So yeah, that's all my brushes, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about which ones I think are very necessary. I think brushes are totally essential to having good makeup looks, and I definitely think there are some really good cheap alternatives. You don't have to spend $1 million on your whole brush collection. You can kind of pick and choose what you want to spend money on. So yeah, I hope this was fun, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!